hero and a champion. I'm honored to be with you. We're united tonight in a lot of things. We're united in the love we have for this great country. We're united in our belief in the sanctity of human life. We're united in our belief in the importance and significance of marriage between one man and one woman. We're united in our belief in America. And tonight as we gather, we're also united in our concern for America, because our country is in peril. About 3 years ago, America did something which is the kind of thing Americans do from time to time. We elected someone new to be president. Yeah. We didn't know much about him, didn't have much of a track record, but he was extraordinarily gifted as a speaker. His soaring rhetoric and promises of change and hope convinced the American people to give it a try. And now, a third year into his 4-year term, we have more than rhetoric to go by. We have his record. Barack Obama has failed the American people. When he took office, his #1 job, in addition to caring for our troops overseas, was to get the American economy to turn around. And so he came to the American people and said, look, I want to borrow $787 billion. And if you let me borrow that kind of money from China and others, I'll be able to hold unemployment below 8%. It hasn't been below 8% since. And today it ticked up, as you know, to 9.1%. And so now, 3 years later, we have high unemployment. We have 20 million Americans out of work or stopped looking for work or in part-time jobs where they wish they could get full-time jobs. 20 million Americans. We still have, 3 years later, home foreclosures at record levels. 3 years later, we have declining home prices. 3 years later, we have debt piling on debt. We have as much debt now at the federal government level, almost as the size of our total economy. This presidency has been a failure. And what does he have to say about this? He says, I'm just getting started. No, Mr. President, you had your turn. It's now our turn. We're the ones that are just getting started. And did you hear what he said today about the 9.1% unemployed Americans? He said that's just a bump in the road. No, Mr. President, that's not a bump. That's Americans. People unemployed are not just statistics. They're bumps. If you have this number of people unemployed, you have college kids, for instance, that can't go to the next semester. Some who can't even go to college. You have people, young marrieds, who want to start a household that can't afford to do so. You have marriages that sometimes break under the strain of unemployment. You have people who are 55 years old at the prime of their life, out of work, wondering if they'll ever get another job. This is not just a crisis, this is a moral crisis that we face in the country. And with this crisis going on, the President is in the Midwest today, taking a victory lap about how successful he's been in dealing in the automobile industry. And so he's taking a victory lap at the very time we have more people announced today that are out of work. It's an extraordinary thing. I don't think it's possible to solve a crisis if you can't see a crisis. And this president does not see a crisis, and we do. I also think it's a moral tragedy for us to pile up more and more debt that we know we can't possibly pay off during our lifetimes, and pushing that onto the next generation. I think it's totally inexcusable. I want to make sure that we as a generation, and generations in this room, pass along a torch to the next generation rather than passing on a bill for our excesses. And we're going to do that. Now, I sometimes wonder how it is that the President has been so wrong in his guidance of the economy and the nation. And I'm reminded of what Ronald Reagan said. He said, it's not that liberals are ignorant, it's just that what they know is wrong. And he's proven that, hasn't he? But there's something more than that. I think whether it's the inspiration that came from the faculty lounges he's been in, or whether it's the inspiration that comes from watching the policies of the Europeans, but much of what he's done is similar to the policies that you've seen come out of Europe. So with our economy in trouble, he did what they did. He spent more money and borrowed more money. with people out of work, he did what the Europeans did. He pushed unions and saluted the union bosses. With healthcare having difficulties, he said, let's have the federal government take it over, just like the Europeans did. With energy challenges, he did the same thing they did. He pursued cap and trade. He thought higher prices would help us out.
Yeah.
Look, the European solutions don't work for Europe. They're certainly not going to work for America. The right answer for America is to believe in the principles that made America America.
Yes, sir.
For instance, I believe in American free enterprise, American opportunity, American freedom and liberty. I tell you briefly a story of my dad. My dad grew up poor. His dad went broke more than once. My dad learned to be a lath and plaster carpenter. He could take a handful of nails, put them in his mouth, spit them out, pointing side forward, and then nail them one by one. And then when he was, of course he couldn't get the time or the money to put together to get a college degree, didn't graduate from college, but then when he got married to my mom,